Through the concrete cracks worn weary by work boots and high heels. Through the concrete cracks showered in tears of sorrow, tears of joy. Through the concrete cracks rumbled by reverberations of 100 years, a flower on the hill takes its first breath, and a grand hope springs. Welcome to the Spring Street podcast at the intersection of creation and destruction in the heart of downtown Los Angeles. And now, a word from the sponsors. This podcast is sponsored by Starship Kairos, a podcast studio available for bookings in downtown Los Angeles. Starship Kairos is where my guests and I make this show happen. Soundproofed, cozy, and equipped with professional audio gear, Starship Kairos is an ideal location for any type of podcast. Starship Kairos offers a full suite of services including content consultation, mixing and mastering, and custom jingle writing. For rates and booking, check them out on Instagram at Starship Kairos or click on the link in the description. And now, let's dive in. Okay, Tyler, Gabi, welcome to the Spring Street podcast. It always feels very funny to say the title of this because we're obviously not on any street at all and very far away from Spring Street in downtown Los Angeles or Spring Street in New York, but out in the desert. So thanks for being here, guys. Is this your first Skooliepalooza? First one.
First one.
Yeah. Wow. Let's just start at the beginning. Like, how did you guys find out about Skoolie, and what are these first few days felt like for you guys?
Really, I think we found out about it through our friend Matt. He's been doing bus life or van life for him for almost 6 years now, and we just heard about it through him and we're interested in it for sure. But we started traveling back in 2019. It was one of her dreams to just be able to travel, quit whatever we were doing and just travel. And so whenever I first met her, it was like, hey, this sounds like a fun idea. Like, why wouldn't we just save up money and just see what happens? Mm-hmm. And so 3 years later, we felt like we had enough money, and we both had corporate jobs, and next thing you knew, we went on a trip to Iceland actually, and then we just fell in love with the idea of just traveling around and looking and seeing everything, and the idea of adventure. And so that's what really sparked it for us to just be like, let's do it. Let's go all in and just start traveling. And then once we got out and started traveling other countries and stuff, it just exploded from there. Mm-hmm. So you want to say anything else? No?
I'm curious, when you're getting into this world of being nomadic, living on the road, and you're still in that kind of like imagination stage and like YouTube watching stage, and then you get to the real life, how does, I guess, what you envision match reality? Like, has it been what you expected? Have there been things that just caught you off guard? What's that kind of shift been like for you guys?
Yeah, I don't know what we expected, to be honest. Like, I think we just expected to be out in the middle of nowhere and just like be in nature, and definitely we have those moments. But then there's also moments in between, when you're going to locations and you're sleeping at Cracker Barrels and Walmart and
yeah.
And I think also like the biggest thing, or for me at least, just living in a tiny space with another human, and just navigating that and learning through that process. That was something that was a big learning lesson, I feel like. I mean, we've definitely, had our moments, but I mean, it's true, right? Like, if you're sharing a tiny home with somebody, I mean, even just living with someone in a regular house, it can be a challenge. So in a tiny space, it's like finding those boundaries and that alone time to like, settle into everything.
Yeah. It's really interesting. A lot of people in this community are couples. It's a lot of people, they do their builds together. They're on an adventure with another person. Do you think that in a way, living in such close proximity has almost maybe accelerated like certain issues or certain topics, kind of like made you have to deal with things quicker than in the outside world of like living in an apartment or living in a house?
Yes, 100%. I mean, yeah, there's not really any hiding, right? Because you're spending 24/7 with that person. I mean, you're going to get moments to like go out and, take a break. But yeah, you do accelerate. You're kind of like on this accelerated path to like going deep with each other, and kind of learning the ins and outs of a relationship. I would say, yeah, like times 10, like, or even more, because you are spending so much time together, and it's, you learn a lot from relationships. So you learn a lot about yourself at the same time. And yeah, it's a beautiful experience, It's not easy by any means. It's challenging, but I mean, overall, like very beautiful to be able to learn so much so fast.
Yeah, I think you definitely learn a lot about how to communicate effectively, and then balance between what you want and creating like a space where you both feel comfortable and being vulnerable together, but also being true to yourself. Like that's the biggest thing I've learned this past year is trying to my tendencies are more towards being a people pleaser and just doing what someone asks just because, it makes me happy doing that. But it's not necessarily in my best interest. And so you discover things along the way about yourself. And we both kind of discovered ourselves within this process and we grew. And now I think the best relationships are the ones where you both are growing in it and you keep learning through each other. And so that's kind of what we've discovered this past year about not just about even before that traveling together, but living together. And, fights are going to come up, arguments are going to come up. And how do we navigate what we do in that space? Like how obviously we have to come back to each other and sleep right next to each other. And so, it's escalated. So that's well put.
Yeah. And then talking to about relationships, I feel like there's also a third relationship, and that's the one with the vehicle. Because it becomes very personal. It's this thing that you have this intimate knowledge of and experience with. You have to interact with every day. And a lot of people name their vehicles even. Like they have their own personalities. Does your guys' bus have a name?
We do have a name, actually.
Okay.
It took a long time for us, and to me, it feels right, but there's still, I've heard of people changing their bus names many times, and we're not one to be stuck.
Rechristening.
Yeah, we're not ones to be stuck on anything for sure. So, but our bus name is Birdie.
Birdie.
It just felt adventurous and playful, and it just we've gone through a lot of names, and that one is the one that just stuck with us the most. Our bus in general is something we put a lot of time and we poured ourselves into it. We didn't build it ourselves, but we worked intimately with the person who did build it and worked a lot of hours in just like mocking up what we really wanted and the general layouts and the aesthetic of it. And whenever you do pour yourself into it, I think you do have an attachment to it. And it's something that you become extremely proud of. But also a little bit protective of as well. So we haven't quite put it out there and videoed it and did like a tour or anything like that yet.
I know this roof deck experience was kind of the exception. Of like...
We did, yeah. I think we've been waiting to like kind of be involved more in the community, and this event obviously is the perfect place to just kind of find more people that are like-minded and maybe we'll feel more comfortable kind of sharing that with others. So
yeah,
I think it's pretty cool.
Do you guys spend most of your time outside in more like rural areas as opposed to in the city?
Oh yeah.
Predominantly, yeah.
I think for me, the vision at least was to get into some, like whenever I think of bus life, it's like you get into some immaculate scene like you see on the photos and you're solo by yourself with your vehicle and it's just like you and the wilderness. And it's just something about that just feels so liberating.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. And in my mind, I literally was like, I don't know if this is ever going to be attainable. Like really, like we'll get the bus and I'm sure we'll have our moments, but is this going to be like I envisioned in my head? But it completely is. Like it blew me away the first moment where we're in that vastness of the landscape and you only see the bus and it's just us and you're just like, we're here. Like this was the vision and we finally are here and it just feels incredible. And so that's the kind of, whenever we go places, that's what we really love, is being able to be in the environment for at least a week, try and go for 2 weeks. We call them 14ers.
Okay, I like that.
The
That's kinda
14ers
cute.
are the
The
mountains.
14ers.
Yeah,
That's cool.
hiking 14er. Well, ours is staying at a place for 14 days.
Yeah.
So there's our 14er. But yeah, that's our ideal, because we prepare, we get a lot of food, and we just maintain our water, and we like being in the environment. We really enjoy being out on the deck. Hiking, and so if we get in a good spot and we love it, then a lot of stuff to do, then we'll just stay there as long as we can.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What went into the decision to get a bus? Because there's so many different options. You can get a van, an RV, a box truck, ex-military vehicle, all sorts of things. So why a school bus?
We got a school bus because Tyler's 6'5". And
Okay, yes. Yes.
We thought about RVs, we thought about vans. We were actually going to go to New Zealand and try van life out, but COVID happened, so it didn't work out. But the bus idea we came across like buses and roof races. And so that was the main reason that we went with the bus. And we loved the idea of being able to build our own space and kind of create our own space. So the bus just seemed to fit all of that.
Yeah.
And I think too, like more of like for me at least, I know the height for sure, but with a bus, I feel like you're creating a home base where you can really be comfortable in and share. Like it's almost like you are building a house. And I think the difference I've seen at least is with van life, it's people can of course create their own homes, but it's more outside. I think we'd like to be a little bit of both. We'll be inside. We can be inside all day and be completely happy. I think if I personally was in a van, I'd feel more inclined to want to be outside versus being in the van all day. But
Definitely.
being in the bus, it just feels a little bit more like a home. So that's kind of another reason why we went with the bus.
Yeah, I definitely understand that feeling. Since I'm in a van, for the most part, I can't I can kind of hang out in there at night. It's really nice to be able to hang out there at night.
Right.
But in the daytime, it's not necessarily set up to be able to work or hang out.
Right.
Have guests over.
That's
which,
another thing too. Yeah.
Being in your guys' bus, it's almost like just being in any normal living room. You know.
Yeah.
Like it. You could easily forget you're in a bus. You know.
It does happen. I think the most people we've had or like hosted was like 7 or 8 people, and we were like, "There's no way." And the first time it happened, we were like, "It actually is a nice, intimate environment." Like we felt really comfortable. And even last night, we were in that van. It's like we piled everyone in there, and it felt really comfortable. So just learning along the way. It's pretty cool.
Man, that's super awesome. I want to go over just like a few of the technical things about your bus because I think it's really cool the way you guys have it set up. So, how much solar do you guys have?
I can speak to it, but she's better at it.
So we have 4 425 watt panels on top of the roof, and then we have 10 100 amp hour batteries.
That's the dream.
So
that is insane.
We went extra on the solar just because I know myself personally, and like I tend to like get anxious or worried if we don't have enough or like if like that feeling if you like don't have enough power or water or something. So we kind of overbuilt it. Yeah, but it's really nice to have.
And have you ever run out of power?
In Washington, because we were there in the winter and it was very cloudy and rainy, and so I think we could make it how many days was it?
We just weren't even expecting it, to be honest. We thought there was going to be cloud coverage, which would stop us from doing that, but really it was because the sun doesn't go directly above you. It's just off to the side.
Right,
And so
yeah.
you don't get a good charge ever. And so every day we'd get like 20% off, 20% off, 20% off, and no charging. And so you're just like, well, I guess we're going to have to plug up in the next couple of days. And then so we wore it out from there. But we learned like every 3 or 4 days, you just got to plug up, charge up, and then go on to the next spot. So,
Yeah. So you guys have the ability to plug in shore power?
Yes. Yeah.
That's cool. What about alternator power? Can you guys charge from that too?
We can. It's something recently happened to where it hasn't been charging as great as it used to.
Interesting.
But so we have to get that looked into. But we can, like as we're driving, it does charge up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you guys also have AC.
Yeah, AC and heat from our
incredible.
Yeah.
And that's all just from the solar.
Just from the solar.
Man.
Yeah. It's really cool to be powered by the sun. I mean, I never knew. I mean, really, we're just driving around, operating everything as is, and the sun is providing it all. It just makes you even think, the sun's giving the panels energy. Like, there's so much that we get from nature. And so it's a really cool experience.
How much did you guys get the bus for to begin with? Like before anything was done to it? You remember the price?
She actually found our bus in Tampa, and I think the price we got it for was like $9,000. Yeah, around 9,000. It was 72,000 miles on it. It was
actually not too bad.
Yeah, it was an old Air Force bus, and it was just a transit bus. They just transported their troops from around the base, and we think that there must have been an issue with it that we had it actually the issue fixed once we broke down like on our way to our builder the first driving all the way to Colorado.
Wow.
We broke down and we were like, well, this isn't good.
Yeah.
And the guy literally said that it seems like there wasn't a screw all the way put in because it's really hard to get to. The screw that they found that wasn't in, it was really hard. Instead, they were like, someone just got lazy and essentially just didn't screw it in all the way.
That's crazy.
And so we think we got pretty lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been issues along the way, but it's just standard maintenance stuff that you go through with any bus build. And
is it hard to find people who work on buses? I mean, there's so many buses for school systems, so I would imagine there's plenty of people out there.
It is. There's definitely, if you're around a bigger city, there's usually at least 1 or 2 people that you can find that do like big engines.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part is trying to find some. We call like, she's the queen of calling all the diesel mechanics, and they're always like, we don't do big vehicles like that. I'm sorry. Like it's a bus. Sorry, you can't do it. And they immediately turn you away. But if you just look even harder or even ask them, is there anywhere to go that you know of that can do it? Then they'll help you out. So someone will direct us. Yeah.
Once you tell them it's a bus.
You want to?
Once you tell them it's an actual bus, like they're a little bit more hesitant to help you. But I mean, we still find people.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Is there anything that you would have done differently with your build with this bus?
Honestly, like
diesel heater.
Yeah, like we did a little bit of touring for probably like what was it, like 3-ish months or something, 4 months.
Yeah.
And then we added a few things like the diesel heater. That was something that we added later on that we didn't have.
Yeah.
But honestly, at this point, no, like
amazing.
It took 2.5 years to go through this entire process. So I mean, we tried to be as thoughtful as and intentional as we could throughout. So
I mean, that's like building a normal home.
Yeah. Exactly.
Maybe even a little longer. So
so I don't know.
I don't know if there's anything.
Like I feel like we have everything that we need.
We heard about heated floors. And I always thought about that, but we don't even need it. Like it wasn't even like we wear socks, and then I love the slippers I walk around in, so it's kind of comfy. And so, from that sense, we don't really need it. I guess a step stool to get in and out of the bus that actually doesn't hit the ground whenever we're doing turns.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
right now we have a step stool that keeps hitting the ground and keeps denting, and so we can't even pull it out anymore. So,
Oh, no.
yeah, but that's just small stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, our mini split actually doesn't produce that much heat. So I guess an alternative to that. Oh, one thing actually is I saw this online, and I don't know, I haven't done any research, like real research into it, but we absolutely hate the process of the toilet. Yeah, we have a composting toilet, which we
You guys
love
have
the
the nature's
idea.
head, right?
Yeah, the nature's
Yeah.
head, and we love the idea of it, but we just didn't know it involved, putting it into a bag and then throwing it out, and it's just like, well, what's the point of the compost toilet? Like, I guess you can't really. I mean, yeah, we thought it was going to be something different, honestly, and
well,
so
we got it for like to be. Oh, we got it to mostly because it was like a more sustainable and environmentally friendly option. Then it's like, yeah, you're using the bags every single time you have to clean it, and I don't know, when you have two people and everybody's bowel movements are different.
Everybody poops. Everyone's got to
Yeah.
poop. So
Yeah. And I don't, we have like, yeah, I would say maybe we didn't know how often we would have to clean it.
right,
And
how often do you guys have to clean it?
every 2 weeks.
like every 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it's supposed to last for
It's supposed to.
like a
so that's
few
what
months.
I said. Like everybody's bowel movements
Yeah,
are different,
well,
So
fair enough. You know what? The toilet is like the age-old.
I
man.
mean, it is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it.
The toilet is like the age-old conundrum of the van life.
Yeah.
I think everyone is still trying to dial it in, and no one has found like the perfect
There probably isn't
recipe.
one. There is one
but
that
what
we
I was gonna
found,
say-
the fire one.
Yeah, so what I was going to say was in looking online, I did find an incinerating toilet.
Oh my
And I
goodness.
was just like, what is this? We need this. Like,
That's insane.
and apparently it just burns it, and then the ash just goes up. Like,
Wow. I mean, that
so it,
sounds
to
sweet.
me is like, damn, that's exactly what we need. But I'm sure there's all these things involved with it that in building it, like, and installing it. So we don't know. We haven't done all the research, but
Yeah.
ideally, if we were to change anything, I think it would be that.
Yeah.
We don't even know what we would change it to.
Yeah, we don't know.
Comparing your old way of living, that being like living in an apartment or a house, to living in a bus, would you say that your level of comfortability has changed? Like, has it decreased? Has it increased? Or is it just the same?
For me personally, it's definitely increased.
Wow.
I'm someone who really like energizes from like having that time to go like inward and like kind of just like be with, in like nature and stuff. So, and we have we have everything that we need, and so for me, it's definitely gone up. Like I have more time to like really like think about my life and what I want to do, and there's not really as many distractions, I think for me personally, like there's always a lot of distractions in like living in a city or being, having that corporate job and the 9 to 5. And I feel more, I feel a lot more comfortable in this lifestyle than I did before. And I don't know, I just really love traveling and seeing new places. That's really fulfilling to me.
And did you leave your corporate job, like, or do you still have it?
No, so I quit my corporate job. So before we were living in the bus, we were traveling internationally and living out of our backpacks. And so this is a lot more comfortable than that, So because
I can only imagine.
we don't have, we have our closet and we have a kitchen and we have a toilet and, so it's for our comfort, that's why I'm saying, so our comfort level went up. But yeah, we quit I quit my corporate job in 2019. Tyler also quit his corporate job in 2019. He has a remote job right now. I'm kind of like in transition right now, trying to build my own business. So, yeah.
Wow. And do you envision, because I know you do, do some life coaching, working on that. Are you envisioning that as a remote thing or as an in-person while traveling?
I mean, the big long-term vision would be like online coaching. And then I would love to be able to like host retreats and kind of like get groups out into like a space that's, like a kind of like camping where it's like kind of like outdoor and like practicing yoga and really connecting to the nature. Because I feel that, once you have this connection to the outdoors and to the nature around you, that it really kind of just, change, at least for me, and I feel like a lot of people, it just gives you this different perspective on life and how everything is interconnected. And like even just being able to power everything through the sun, it just like that makes it a little bit, it just, it just like kind of like deepens that, like we're living on this planet and it's like kind of providing everything that we need. I think sometimes we get a little bit disconnected from that. So
Totally. It's a funny thing to be so attuned to the sun as your source of power.
Yeah.
Because you have to think about it. You have to think like, if it's cloudy or where's my van positioned? Is it under shade? Am I in the sunlight? Like it changes your relationship with the sun, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's really beautiful too.
You just don't have to think about it in an apartment.
Yeah.
I think for sure living out here has definitely made a stronger connection to nature in the sense that when you're in a house, these things aren't really on your mind. Like you have so many distractions with your work life or what other things are around you. But when you're out in the middle of nature, you don't have all these things that you can go do elsewise. Like it's kind of what you want to do. You have a lot of time like to think about your life, where it is, like how if you're doing what you want to do, and holding yourself accountable to like making sure you're living the life you want to live. And so there is a lot of moments where you really take it all in and you self-analyze, and it's really cool whenever you're in line. Like when you're in line with it, you just feel a presence, like everything just feels like it's you're in that place that you should be. Like and that's a cool feeling. And so you have a lot of those moments. And then there's some moments where for me, I'm very social. Like I like to be around friends. I like to be in groups. And those moments are tough for me because obviously you're away from that. And so there's like a give and take with me for sure. I love the life. I love being out in nature, like 100%. But for me, I think a total package is to have friends around and to celebrate it with groups of people. Not all the time, but yeah. So there's a give and take for me.
Yeah.
A lot of my energy comes from others. So.
And well, I mean, that's perfect then for a place like Skooliepalooza.
Oh yeah, I'm getting it out here.
Getting to circle up with a group of nomads.
Look at that background. I mean,
out in the desert. I mean, it's insane. There's probably like 1,000 vehicles out here.
Yeah.
So,
and they're like-minded, and everyone's been on their own adventure, and they all have their own story. So, it's incredible to see so many people that have gone through the evolution that we've like literally just begun.
Yeah,
so,
really exciting. Do you guys think that you're gonna stay in the bus for a long time in the foreseeable future?
We have plans to drive up to Alaska this summer. And so we really want to spend a lot of good quality time in Alaska and explore and be off grid for as long as we can out there. I have this dream to fish for salmon in a stream and then cook the salmon that night.
Wow.
So that's awesome. Gonna happen. I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
And then from there, I think if there was a master plan, then that would probably be to make our way from Alaska. And since we're already up there, drive all the way as far south as we can go until we feel like we can't go anymore. I guess. The goal would be to get all the way to South America.
Oh,
it's the Pan American Trail.
Dang, like go down to Panama?
Yeah, all the way down as far as we can go. But we'll see how it goes. So we're definitely going to feel it out and make sure we feel comfortable doing it.
Yeah.
And, I think there's a big stigma about traveling to other countries, and we've traveled to so many where they have like a level 2 warning, and it's some of the nicest people you've ever met. And you'll get like, you're going to find bad people no matter where you go. It's just, it's human nature. But you realize in traveling that most people are good and they're just trying to help, or they're just trying to, everyone's just curious about each other, you know? So it's fascinating to go into a space after you've heard someone say, you know, be careful about this. And we're not naive to it, but you know, you just got to be aware, and we take everything with a grain of salt. So,
man, super exciting.
Yeah. So.
All right, is there a country in particular you're most excited to visit in the bus?
Costa Rica. We've been to Costa Rica, but and Canada. We haven't been to Canada in the bus yet, but
that's right, man. BC in the bus.
Places, I mean, for me at least, those are the two. Colombia would be pretty sweet. Yeah, and then Patagonia, obviously. I mean, Patagonia would be really, really nice. Yeah.
Could you guys foresee a future where you kind of end up like semi-permanently posted down in Patagonia in the bus? Like,
I mean, I'm open to all of it.
Yeah. 6 months in Patagonia. Like,
yeah, I mean,
maybe talk about the overall, like maybe the goals of owning like little houses or something.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that's like another long-term vision.
The future commune.
Yeah. Having like, you know, like little homes or communities kind of set up, you know, in countries that we really love would be a dream.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Where you're at the right place to meet people who have like-minded dreams.
Yeah.
I think half of us in here are trying to start the same thing. So we'll talk offline after this. But man, well, it's been, you know, this is such a cool experience getting to just talk to you guys on top of your bus after having seen the inside. It's so beautiful. I'm really excited for your guys' journey, and just grateful for the time and the space to just talk. So, do you guys have any kind of social media that you want people to follow, or?
So we used to be a little more active on social media. We had like a couples account, and then social media for us just became something that, in order to really do it, it's like you have to put your complete heart into it.
Yeah.
And it's something that for us, it drained us. And so we kind of lost the passion for it. Mm-hmm. But I've started my own account separately. And it's basically an account where it's kind of my creative outlet is what I like to view it as.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of photography now. I did graphic design before, and now I focus on photography. And it's kind of been liberating for me to kind of capture a moment in beautiful places and try and like show that through the photography. And so I'm really focusing on that. So I'm going to be putting stuff on that account, and then just random videos here and there that I just really feel like sharing, because it's my space, and I'm not trying to produce it for followers or anything like that. It's just literally for me. And if anyone wants to follow along, then they're more than welcome to. So I have an account I've had it for a long time, called The Hooksta.
The Hooksta.
The Hooksta.
Okay.
And I was thinking about changing it, but I was like, you know what? I'm not like, let's just keep it. I've had it for so long. Why not?
Yeah.
So I was just going to be what it is.
The Hooksta. Okay. Well, I'll make sure to put a link of that in the podcast. So.
And Gabi, I think she's starting her own as well, but that's in the future.
In the future.
In the near future, actually. I think she's getting back into it.
Okay. Well, depending on when this podcast comes out, we can, put that in the link in the description too. So, but thank you guys so much. This has been awesome.
Absolutely.
And thanks for opening up your space to this. So thank you guys.
This was great. You love all the questions. You're a natural. So it really made it nice and comfortable for us. And I really appreciate it.
Right on. Well, thank you guys so much. So let's
Absolutely.
party.
Let's do it.
Thank you for listening to the Spring Street Podcast. If you'd like to support the show, sign up for the Patreon to receive exclusive behind-the-scenes content, and check out the sponsor links in the description.